Hello everyone, I'm making this on Halloween, so happy Halloween. I know you're not going to watch it on Halloween, but hey, at least I thought I'd wish you a happy Halloween. Alright, what you guys are doing, as you can read, is section 5.6 for the quadratic formula. This whole thing is the quadratic formula, and you use it to solve equations like this. So up till now, you guys have been relying on factoring or completing the square. Those are the two methods. If you were factoring, say you had 3x minus 7, x plus 2 equals 0, then you would set the factors equal to 0. Solving, completing the square, if you had 3x minus 2 squared plus 5 equals 0, then you'd subtract the 5, divide by 3, take the square root, add the 2. So you've been practicing those methods. This is going to find you exactly the same answers using a third way of doing it, and it's called the quadratic formula. This is your A, your B, and your C. So this is written in standard form. So it's something that I've been working with you guys since the first day of this unit, first day of this chapter. This is standard form, A, B, and C. And you're just going to read A, B, and C out of the equations and fill them into this formula and then simplify the formula. So doing it with this one, A is 1, B is 2, negative 2, and C is negative 4. Setting up this pattern, it says x equals, I read it as the opposite of b. I know you guys will be prone to saying negative b, but it's really saying take the opposite of b. So you take, let's see, the opposite of b would be 2, because it's the opposite of it, plus or minus the square root of negative 2, because that's the value of b, squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 4. Oh, it doesn't look, my 4 is still having issues, but it almost looked like a 4. Let's see, 4 all over twice the value of a. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. Now you got to simplify the inside. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root. That would be 4 minus a negative 16. So that becomes plus 16 all over 2. Whoops, plus 16. Holy cow. Eating too much Halloween candy this morning, I guess. I can't even add 20. Now, yes, you guys have to reduce this. And no, you can't just cancel like that. Nope, you can't. If you had a product, 2 times x over 2, when it's a product, you can just cancel. But when you have a sum or a difference, you can't just cancel. It has to be able to cancel with both things before you can do that. Now 20, we have to reduce. If you want to think of it as 4 times 5 hanging out in the 20, then it's 2 square roots of 5. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 5 all over 2. And now the 2's can cancel. I'm not going to split this just for the sake of splitting it. I'm doing it to help you see what it is. Everything upstairs knows it's being divided by 2. 2 over 2 is worth 1 plus or minus the square root of 5. So that would be your answer. Some kids aren't sure about this symbol. It means 1 plus the square root of 5, and your other answer is 1 minus the square root of 5. It's not 1 times square root of 5, but 1 times negative square root of 5. No, it's literally 1 plus it and 1 minus it. You're just writing it condensed. Okay. Doing the same pattern with this, x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which would be 9, minus 4 times a times c all over twice a, which would be 2 times 5. So x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus, let's see, doing this becomes 20, negative 20, 9 minus a negative 20, which would be 29, all over 10. All right? That does not reduce. the 29 doesn't come out, so you just leave your answer like that. And that's totally okay. You just leave it. This one, you got a q this time, so q is equal to the opposite of b, -2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared, which is going to be 4, minus 4 times a times b, all over twice a, so -14. Q is equal to -2 plus or minus, and doing that work ahead, I got 252. It's kind of a big number, -14. So that's, to me, when you guys go and you prime factor it. So you got 2 and 126, I believe. 2 and half of that would be, what, 63? 3 is going to go into that now 21 times. 3 goes into that 7 times. So you've got the square root of 2 squared times 3 squared times 7. So I'm hoping you guys see that's going to pop out as 2, that's going to pop out as 3, and you got the square root of 7 hanging behind. So this is 6 squared to 7. Q is equal to -2 plus or minus 6 square root of 7 all over -14. And yes, there's a 2 that's going to cancel. Again, if it helps you guys to see it by splitting it, by all means, split it. There's no requirement to split it. I'm just showing you that because sometimes kids get a little confused on how to split this stuff. It also brings up an interesting point here on this -14 that I'll talk about in a second with relation to that. So Q is equal to, that's just to try to produce, we're going to get 1/7, positive 1/7. Now, this plus and minus, I'm going to let this negative play a bit of a role here to show you what happens. There's a 2 that's going to reduce, so I've got 3 square roots of 7 over 7, and I'm going to put, rather than the negative downstairs, I'm going to put it upstairs. Okay, now the reason I'm doing that is because I want to illustrate this point. Q is equal to 1/7 plus a -3 square roots of 7 over 7, and it's also 1/7 minus a -3 square root of 7 over 7. This one turns plus, and plus a negative is really just minus. So what I really have is still plus and minus, but that negative on the second part, this negative gets absorbed into plus and minus. The plus becomes minus and the minus becomes plus. So it's still plus and minus. So your answer is really Q is equal to 1 plus or minus 3 square roots of 7 over 7. Okay? It canceled with the 1 in front. This negative canceled here, and then it was absorbed for the second one into the plus and minus. So that would be your answer for that. Going for this next one. So the opposite of B, so -1, because right now it's a 1, plus or minus B squared is 1 minus 4 times 2 times 1 all over twice A, which is 4. X is equal to -1 plus or minus the square root. 1 minus 8 is -7 over 4. X is equal to -1 plus or minus I squared of 7 over 4. And because it has an I, you guys have to split it. You have to separate it. That's just the rule. It says whenever you have a complex number, you need to write it in the A plus or minus BI format. That they have to be separate. So plus or minus I squared of 7 over 4. So that would be the way your answer is written. Okay. One last shot. We've got extracting the root. When you guys are given a polynomial that looks like this, what you guys need to do is don't expand this. You guys have been extracting the root for a couple sections now. Divide out the 3. So you have x plus 4 squared is equal to -9, and then you square root both sides. So x plus 4 equals plus or minus, the negative comes out, so that would be I square root of 9, and square root of 9 is 3, so plus or minus 3i. Then subtract the 4 to the other side. Okay? One like this, when you've got stuff on both sides, I'm going to pull the 7m squared over. So I have 4m squared minus 1 is equal to 2. I'm going to bring the 1 over. 4m squared is equal to 3. I did that by adding it over. Okay. I have to divide by 4. M squared is equal to 3/4. Square root the entire both sides. And remember, when you put an even root on the page that wasn't there before, a plus and minus is going to show up. And when you have fractions, you can split the fractions top and bottom. Square root of 3 stays put, but the square root of 4 turns into 2. So m is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2. And I believe that concludes this assignment.